Hello, in this tutorial I'll show you how to deploy a Next.js app with Docker on Google Cloud Run. This tutorial will have two parts. The first part will be getting the Next.js app running with Docker locally, and then the second part is we will be deploying it to Google Cloud Run. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you have these three things installed on your computer: Node.js, npm, and Docker. So to check you have these installed, you can run these commands: node-v, npm-v, and docker-v. So if any of these don't work, then you have to install them. After that, we'll be creating the Next.js app. So to do this, we'll be using create next app. So we do npx create next app at latest. And the only option I'll be using is this one, --use npm. So what this does is it tells create next app to use npm to install all the packages. If this one is optional, if you prefer to use something other than npm, it's fine. It's just that for the Docker image later on, I'll be using npm for that as well. So it's just to make sure both things use npm. And then you can call your project whatever you want. So Next.js, Docker, just your example. And usually I just go with the defaults. So yes, yes, no, no, and just click enter. And then it's creating the project. Alright, after that, we navigate to the directory, and then let's just run it locally to make sure everything's working properly. So we do npm run dev, and it should start the server on port 3000. So we go to localhost 3000, and we see that it's working properly. The next step is we'll be getting this running in a Docker container. So to do this, let's open the project in your code editor. For me, I'm using VS Code, so I'm going to just do this command to open VS Code. Alright, and then so what we need is to create a Docker file. If you're not sure what Docker does, it's basically a technology that allows you to put your project in so like think of it as putting your project in a container and then being able to run your project basically on any computer. So I'm just gonna be running a very simple Docker file. So first I'm gonna be just using the base node image, so from node 18 Alpine, and I'll be setting the folder for the directory for the Docker image to be workdir /app, and after that I'll be copying all the files here to the Docker container, and then I'll be running npm install --omit dev, and what this does is this omit dev option is basically the same as this one. It's the same as production, it's just that some reason npm tells you to use this omit dev instead, so that it doesn't throw a warning. And after that we do npm run build to build a project, and then finally we do command npm start to start the project. So that's it for the Docker file. This is very bare bones Docker file. You could probably optimize this a lot to make it faster. So, but for now, this is good enough. So now the next file we'll be making is a docker ignore file. So docker ignore, and we'll just be adding three things here. So docker ignore, and finally node modules. So these are the things that Docker won't be copying. So if you look in this line here, it'll basically copy all the files here except for these three files. So the reason we don't include node modules is because we want to have a clean build, a clean install every time. So this is it for the all the Docker files. So let's get this running on Docker. So we'll use these commands to get our Next.js app running with Docker. So the first one would be building this. So Docker build -t, and then your whatever you want to call your Docker image. So I'm naming the same as the project name, and then the dot at the end. So this will build using Docker. So it'll take a while. As you see, it's running all the steps we have set in the Docker file. So after it's done building the image, we can go and look at Docker to actually see the image that's built. So we see the images here. Tab, we have our this image that we just built. Alright, so the next step is running this image in a container. So to do this, we would use this command, docker run -dp, and then we'll use 3000, port 3000, and then just the name of the project, the name of the image that you set. Alright, and then hit enter, and now it should be running in port 3000. So to do this, we can check. So this is from before, so let's just refresh. So now it may look the same, but now this time it's running with Docker. And to make sure, we can go to the Docker dashboard again and look at the container, and we see that it's running. It is running our image in 3000. And just to make sure, right, that this is really actually working, we can do Docker ts, which lists all the containers that are running, and then we can get the ID here, and we can do docker stop, and then set the ID, and now it should stop the Docker image. So if we go back to local 3000, it should stop running, and we see that it stopped working. So to get it running again, we just do the same command as before, docker run, and now it should be working again. Alright. Now we're moving on to step 2, which is deploying to Google Cloud Run. So you'll need a Google account first, and navigate to this URL, and then click console. I already have the console in this tab. So after you go here, click on the menu, and then click on go to the billing, this billing thing, and you'll need to enable billing, so which is adding a billing account. As you see, I have not done it either. You do need a credit card for this, so make sure you have one handy, but it won't charge you, but you still need it. The next thing we're going to do is creating our project in Google Cloud. So to do this, we go back to the console in Google Cloud, and then click that button and click new project, and then give your project a name. So for me, I'll just call it Next.js Docker GCR example, and then you'll see that it gives a project ID. Yeah, so note that you can change it later, so make sure you set it to something you like. For me, I'll just use the default. So, and then just click create. And it's creating. And you see it's done, and then we can select the project. And what we're going to do next is enable 2 APIs. So the artifact registry API. So you search up artifact registry. And you need to click the enable. You need to enable it. see I got some error. Just hit retry. All right, it is enabled. Now we go back and the next API we're enabling is cloud build. So you search up cloud build and click enable. So we'll be using artifact registry to store uh, the Docker. Just store our Docker repo, so all of our files, and then we're using cloud build to build the Docker image. So okay, so this is enabled as well, so we're good to go. Next thing we're going to be doing is going to the terminal, and then we need to set the project in our terminal to be the one we just created. So to do that, we do gcloud project set. No, it's gcloud config set project, and then we need to use the project ID that we set. So to find that, we go back to the console and we see that the project ID is here. So we just copy it and then paste, and now it's set our project. Now, the next step is uploading everything to the artifact repository. So to do that, we do gcloud artifacts repositories create, and then give the name for the folder in the artifact repository on artifact registry. So I'll be calling it project name, and then adding a Docker repo at the end, and then give it the repository format equal Docker, and then give it set a location. So I'll use US West 2 here, but for you, you can use whatever location you like. You can search up online all the different locations that Google Cloud supports, and then give it a description equals Docker repository, and that should be it. And just click enter. And now it should create a folder in the artifact repository. So we see it did. So to check this, to make sure, we can go search up artifact registry, and we see that we have our folder here, the repository that we just created. All right, now we can also run this command, gcloud artifacts repository list, and we see that it's listed here. Okay, so the next thing we'll be doing is using cloud build to build our image. So to do this, we'll be running this command, gcloud build submit, and then dash dash region. For me, it's US West 2. For you, it's whatever you want. And then we need to give it a tag name. So for the tag name, what you need to do is go back to the artifact registry, and then click on the folder you just made, and you see here that you're able to copy this. So just copy it, paste, and then at the end we need to add a slash, and then need to have a name for the image. So for me, I'll just do Next.js Docker GCR image, and then a tag. So just do colon tag 1, and now just hit enter, and now it should be building. This would take a while. you see, it's going through all the steps that we have in the Docker file. This word, you can ignore this warning. This is yeah, it's just updating npm. You can ignore it. As you can see, it's done now. Now to verify that everything is built properly, we can go back to the artifact registry and refresh the page, and we should see that we have uploaded our image here. Now the final step will be deploying this image to Google Cloud Run. So to do this, we go back to the terminal and run this command: gcloud run deploy -- image equals, and then your image name. So to get your image name, we go, so this is our folder in the artifact registry. So just click on the image we just uploaded, and then copy everything here. So copy that, paste, and finally you need to add the tag again. So tag 1, and that should be it. And then yeah, so you need to set a service name. So I'll just use the default. Oh, and I guess I forgot to enable the API, but it's fine. Just hit yes. Oh, and then yeah, you need to select the server. So I'll just still go with US West 2. Hit yes again here, and now it should be deploying. Finally, so now it's been deployed, and now the moment that we've all been waiting for. Copy the service URL that we see here, which is the URL of our app, and navigate to it. And there you go. We have now deployed it to Google Cloud Run. Now I'll show you what to do if you want to make changes to your code and deploy it again. So let's go back to VS Code, and so I have the index.txx file open, which is this page. So I guess I'll just change this line. So I'll say, oh, I'm being deployed again, to show you that the code actually changes. So what you want to do is go back to the terminal and then run this command, which is the command that builds the Docker image, the one that we did before. So not the deploy one, this one is the build one. So just click enter again, the same command, and it should build again. All right, now we see that Google has finished building this. So to check, we can go back to the artifact registry and refresh. And we see that this is our new image that we just built. So then the next step would be just deploy it again. So we run the same deploy command that we did before. Don't need to change anything. And we do the same settings so that it gets deployed to the same URL. So I used US West 2 before, so I'll use it again. And now it is deploying the new code. And now it's done. So we take a look at the URL here, and it is the same as the one here. So we see that this is the code that we had previously. Refresh the page, and we see that here we have our new code. So we have deployed a new version of the app. As you can see though, like this process is quite inefficient. Every time you want to deploy some changes, you need to wait for Google to build everything, and you have to do these steps. So probably what you should do is set up some continuous integration service, like such with GitHub. So all you need to do is push the GitHub, and it will just build automatically for you. So you don't need to do these steps. And yeah, that's about it. And also, yeah, adding a custom domain name to your site so you don't get this random name. But yeah, so thanks for watching.